the U.S. inches toward the grim milestone of 1 million coronavirus cases, the topic of when to reopen is weighing heavily on the minds of state and local officials across the country, including in Oklahoma, where restrictions are set to be lifted starting this coming Friday. However, local officials are able to determine to what extent the reopening will happen. Joining me right now is the mayor of Oklahoma City, David Holt. Mayor, good to see you. So how excited are you about the idea of opening at the end of this week, and are you ready?
Well, I'm not excited at all, and I don't think I'd ever be excited about moving into this new transition period. I know that, there has to be a date out there. I recognize that we can't shelter in place for the 2 years that we might live in the shadow of COVID-19. And so there's never going to be a comfortable time to do this as long as there's not a vaccine or a cure. But we're trying to muddle through, and I think that, here in Oklahoma City, we did evaluate our data versus the White House gating criteria. We found that we met it, barely, but we met it. And obviously there's external factors, and as you alluded to, this is happening at the state level. And so here in Oklahoma City, we do have the ability to keep some restrictions in place, but we also have to keep in mind that when the restrictions are lifted at the state level, like most mayors of major metropolitan areas, I'm only the mayor of less than half of the people who live in my metro. And so if the other communities have a different set of regulations that more mirror the state and we try to go our own way, it's not going to be any public health benefit to that. So we had to evaluate all of those factors in deciding that we were going to lift shelter in place here in Oklahoma City on May 1st, as the governor had laid out in his vision for this next phase. But I've been very, very, clear with the people of Oklahoma City when you ask about whether we're ready or not. The virus doesn't care that it's May 1st. The virus is still here. It is still in our community. It is very deadly, and it has killed many people in Oklahoma City, although not as many as in other places. And we don't want to turn that corner and be those other places. And so I've been very clear in my communications, and will continue to be with the people of Oklahoma City, that we've got to stay on task. We've got to social distance, wash our hands, all those things. And on the local level, we are going to put conditions in effect on these openings that are not suggestions. They are going to be rules. And the businesses that open on May 1st are going to have to follow them. These are strict sanitation and social distancing protocols.
What are the businesses and what are the conditions?
Well, from our perspective, the ones we're most concerned about are going to be the high-risk places where spread can really occur. You're thinking about, hair and nail salons where social distancing isn't even possible. You're thinking about restaurants where people gather. Obviously, we're going to keep the 10 or less gathering limit in place for social gatherings because that's still the White House recommendation. When we look at salons, we're going to be, specifying this in the days ahead, but obviously, we're looking at masks, we're looking at gloves, we're looking at masks being offered to the customers. When you look at restaurants, we've got to look at capacity restrictions, we've got to look at separating the tables, we've got to look at masks for servers. All of that's on the table, and we're going to make them rules that you have to follow. These are not going to be suggestions.
Can businesses afford to do that? Can businesses afford to do that after so many businesses have been, closed up? They've lost a lot of revenue, and now, okay, you've got these conditions, but you're all asking them to invest in additional resources to help protect their employees and their customers, which most people wouldn't believe that would be, a ridiculous demand, but it's about money and being able to pay for it. Can they?
Yeah. Well, I don't think they can afford not to, because who would want to go into a business that isn't following strict sanitation and social distancing protocols? I mean, it's for people to have comfort going into businesses in the future with a virus still in our community. Those businesses obviously have to demonstrate their commitment to safety. And again, it's about lives, and that's still our first priority here.
Gotcha. So I want to play a clip now from Dr. Thomas Inglesby. He's the Director of Health Security at Johns Hopkins. And here's what he said about Oklahoma and its current outlook today. Listen.
Oklahoma is coming down from its peak, but had a 26% increase in new cases in the last week. And it went over the course of the last week the numbers jumped from a low of 29 new cases last Sunday to over 100 new cases just this past Thursday and Friday. Should a state with those kinds of numbers be reopening now?
Again, I would be very cautious about doing that. I think it should be done very carefully with a lot of monitoring of both hospitalization rate ICU rate, death rates. So at this point, only about 5 states in the country, to my count, have had 2 weeks of decline.
So, I heard you earlier when you saying you're honoring, what the governor is, instructing the state to do, but at the same time you are trepidatious. But when you hear from the doctor there, does this make you want to take pause even more?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm on the same page as the doctor. I've been very clear in my comments these last 2 days that, my gut says we should wait a few more days. When we looked at the White House gating criteria, that clip you just played was referencing the increase in cases. We also had the White House gating criteria to look at the decrease we currently have in testing percentages. So that's the percentage of people who are testing positive in our community. And so that's ultimately what we passed. But again, setting all of that aside, I mean, we do have these external factors that the state is lifting its regulations. And so we're trying to make the best of it. But no, I have deep misgivings about this. My gut would have picked a later date, but we're going to make the best of it, and we've got to commit to safety as we do so.
Gotcha. All right. Good luck and be well. Oklahoma City Mayor David Holt. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Be well.